Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon and watched the stars through the main screen. His ship had traveled farther from Earth than any human vessel before it. The mission was simple: explore the outer systems and look for signs of intelligent life. What he found was more than anyone had expected. The first alien signal came on a Tuesday morning at 800 hours. Communications officer Betty Walsh nearly dropped her coffee when the console lit up with incoming transmissions. The signals were clearly artificial and came from multiple sources scattered across 3 star systems. Jake felt his heart race as he realized what this meant. Humanity was not alone in the universe. Jake ordered Betty to record everything and sent an immediate message back to Earth. The signal would take weeks to reach home, but this discovery would change everything. He then did something that would later be seen as either brave or foolish. He decided to respond to the alien signals. The response came faster than expected. Within hours, the Horizon received a complex transmission that their computers slowly decoded. The message was an invitation to meet representatives of something called the Galactic Council. Jake felt excitement rush through his crew as they prepared for humanity's first diplomatic contact with alien civilizations. The meeting took place in neutral space near a small moon. Jake brought his best people, including Admiral Lisa Carter, who had arrived on a fast courier ship from Earth. Lisa was known for her sharp mind and calm manner under pressure. She would lead the talks while Jake provided military support if needed. The alien ships were impressive and clearly built with technology far beyond human capabilities. 3 different species had sent representatives. The Zephyrians looked like large reptiles with golden scales and cold yellow eyes. Their ships were sleek and dangerous-looking with obvious weapon systems. The Nexari were stranger still. They appeared to be a collective mind sharing multiple bodies that moved in perfect coordination. Their vessels seemed to be grown rather than built with organic curves and surfaces. The third group called themselves the Karathi and looked almost human except for their pale blue skin and silver hair. The negotiations began well enough. Lisa presented Earth's desire for peaceful contact and trade. She spoke of human achievements in science and art. She offered to share knowledge and resources in exchange for acceptance into the galactic community. The alien response was not what anyone expected. War Commander Thexdal of the Zephyrians spoke first. His voice was deep and rough like gravel falling down a mountain. He told Lisa that humanity was clearly a primitive species that had barely learned to travel between stars. The Nexari speaker, Veltaran, agreed in its strange multi-voice way. It said humans showed signs of being aggressive and unpredictable, which made them dangerous to established galactic order. Lisa tried to explain that humans were peaceful and wanted only friendship. She showed them examples of human art and music. She talked about Earth's diverse cultures and the progress humanity had made in overcoming conflict. The aliens listened, but their expressions showed they were not impressed. Then came the demand that changed everything. Karathi Ambassador Sylvan announced that the Galactic Council had made a decision. Earth would be placed under protective custody for the good of both humans and the galaxy. Human ships would be restricted to their home system. Earth's resources would be managed by galactic authorities. Humans would be relocated to supervised colonies where they could develop properly under alien guidance. Jake felt anger rise in his chest as he listened. This was not negotiation, but conquest, dressed up with fancy words. Lisa remained calm and asked for time to discuss the proposal with Earth's government. The aliens granted 30 days for humanity to accept their terms. Thexdal made the threat clear. If humans refused the generous offer of protection, they would face what he called pacification. The Zephyrian military would ensure compliance with galactic law. Veltaran added that resistance would only lead to unnecessary suffering for the human species. As the alien ships departed, Jake realized how badly this first contact had gone. The aliens saw humans as nothing more than dangerous children who needed to be controlled. They had judged humanity based on their level of technology and found them wanting. What they did not understand was that humans had survived and thrived, not because of superior technology, but because of their ability to adapt and fight when cornered. Lisa sent an emergency message to Earth warning of the coming invasion. She recommended immediate preparation for war. Jake agreed and began planning the journey home. The horizon would carry news that would unite humanity like nothing before. They faced an enemy that believed humans were weak and primitive. The aliens had made their first mistake. They had given humanity 30 days to prepare, and they had underestimated what humans could do when their survival was threatened. Jake looked at his crew and saw determination in their faces. Earth would not surrender. Without a fight, and that fight would teach the galaxy a lesson they would never forget. Commander Krixvol of the Zephyrian Third Fleet received his orders with satisfaction. The High Command had assigned him 200 ships to deal with the human problem. Most commanders would consider this assignment beneath them, but Krixvol saw it as an easy victory that would advance his career. The human homeworld, called Earth, was located in a small system with 1 star and several planets. Intelligence reports showed that humans had barely mastered basic space travel. Their ships were slow and primitive compared to Zephyrian technology. Their weapons were chemical-based rather than energy systems. Krixvol estimated the entire operation would take less than a week. His fleet included 50 heavy cruisers, 100 destroyers, 30 support vessels, and 20 troop transports. It was enough firepower to conquer a dozen systems. Using it against one primitive world seemed like using a hammer to crush an insect. Still, orders were orders, and the High Command wanted a quick, decisive victory to discourage other species from challenging galactic authority. Meanwhile, on Earth, the news of coming invasion had reached every government and military leader. General Alex Rodriguez found himself in charge of coordinating the planet's defense. It was not a job he had ever wanted or trained for. Earth's military forces were designed to fight other humans, not advanced alien civilizations. Alex called. Together, the best minds from every nation. Scientists, engineers, military leaders, and even some civilians joined the effort. They had less than 30 days to prepare for an enemy with technology centuries ahead of their own. Most experts agreed that conventional military tactics would fail against such superior forces. Chief Engineer Maya Singh emerged as one of the most important voices in the planning sessions. She had worked on experimental propulsion systems and understood better than most how far behind human technology really was. Maya proposed a radical idea. Instead of trying to match alien technology, they should focus on human strengths and alien weaknesses. Maya's team began working around the clock to retrofit civilian vessels with military systems. Cargo ships became missile platforms. Passenger liners were converted into troop transports. Even small personal craft were modified to carry weapons. The plan was to use quantity to overcome quality and surprise to offset technological disadvantage. Lieutenant Ben Taylor was assigned to Maya's engineering team. His job was to study captured alien technology from the first contact meeting. The aliens had left behind some debris and energy signatures that human computers could analyze. Ben discovered something interesting about alien defensive systems. They were designed to stop energy weapons and fast-moving projectiles, but seemed less effective against slower kinetic attacks. The information led to a breakthrough in human planning. Maya realized that human weapons might actually be more effective than expected. Chemical explosives and kinetic projectiles could potentially bypass alien shields. The key was getting close enough to use them, which meant human pilots would have to accept dangerous missions with low survival chances. General Rodriguez approved Maya's proposals, but insisted on one additional element. Earth would broadcast false information about human capabilities to mislead alien intelligence gathering. Radio transmissions would include fake technical specifications and military strength reports. The goal was to make the aliens even more confident in their superiority. The deception plan worked better than expected. Zephyrian intelligence intercepted dozens of human communications that painted Earth's defenses as pathetically weak. Reports described human ships with maximum speeds, barely 1/10 of actual capability. Weapon system descriptions understated firepower by similar margins. Military strength was reported as much smaller than reality. Commander Krixvoll reviewed these intelligence reports with growing confidence. The humans had even fewer ships than originally estimated. Their technology was more primitive than suspected. Some of their weapons appeared to be nothing more than chemical rockets that could barely reach orbit. The High Command had clearly overestimated the threat these creatures posed. Krixvoll decided to reduce his attack force. He would take only 100 ships instead of 200. The extra vessels could be used for more important missions elsewhere in the galaxy. His subordinates agreed that full force was unnecessary against such weak opposition. Back on Earth, the final preparations were reaching completion. Every major city had been evacuated to underground shelters. Military personnel had moved to hidden bases scattered across the planet. The orbital defense platforms were operational and waiting. Most importantly, the fleet of converted civilian vessels was ready for deployment. Maya Singh made final checks on the weapon systems she had designed. The alien technology analysis had revealed vulnerabilities that human weapons could exploit. Chemical explosives properly placed could disable alien ship systems. Kinetic projectiles fired at the right angles could penetrate their shields. It would require precise timing and fearless pilots, but it was possible. General Rodriguez held his final briefing with squadron leaders from around the world. Pilots from every nation would fly together in humanity's first space battle. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but they had advantages the aliens did not expect. Human unpredictability and willingness to take desperate risks would be their greatest weapons. The Zephyrian fleet began its approach to Earth's solar system. Long-range sensors detected the alien ships while they were still days away from the planet. Commander Krixvoll broadcast a final surrender demand to Earth's governments. He gave humans 12 hours to comply before beginning what he called a demonstration of Zephyrian military superiority. Earth's response was delivered by Admiral Lisa Carter in a message broadcast across all frequencies. She told the aliens that humanity rejected their demands and would fight to defend their freedom. She warned that any attack on Earth would be met with full resistance. The message ended with words that would become famous throughout the galaxy. Humanity would never surrender. Commander Krixvoll laughed when he heard the human response. Their defiance was admirable but pointless against superior technology and overwhelming force. He ordered his fleet to proceed with the attack plan. The humans would learn quickly that courage alone could not overcome the reality of advanced weapons and tactical superiority. The Zephyrian fleet entered Earth's solar system, expecting an easy conquest. Commander Krixvoll had divided his 100 ships into 3 groups for a coordinated attack. The first group would clear the outer planets of any human presence. The second would establish control of the asteroid belt. The third would proceed directly to Earth for the final assault. What they found instead was the first surprise in what would become a series of shocks. The asteroid belt was not empty as their sensors had indicated. Hidden among the rocks were dozens of human vessels that activated as soon as the alien ships came within range. These were not military craft, but converted mining ships and industrial platforms that had been disguised to look like ordinary asteroids. Pilot Amy Watson commanded the lead mining ship called Iron Eagle. She had spent 15 years working the asteroid belt and knew every rock and hiding place in the region. Her ship had been fitted with military-grade weapons, but more importantly, it carried the industrial equipment she had used for years. Mining lasers became cutting beams. Drilling charges turned into shaped explosives. The massive mechanical arms, used for moving asteroids, could crush alien hull plating. Amy's squadron consisted of 20 converted mining vessels, each commanded by experienced asteroid workers. They knew how to maneuver in dense debris fields and use the environment to their advantage. When the first Zephyrian ships approached, they found themselves facing an enemy that used the asteroid belt itself as a weapon. The mining ships would hide behind large asteroids and emerge when alien vessels passed nearby. Their industrial equipment was designed to break apart solid rock, which proved surprisingly effective against alien armor. More importantly, the miners fought with a style the Zephyrians had never encountered. They used suicide tactics and ramming attacks that no rational military force would attempt. Captain Roy Fisher commanded a different type of vessel entirely. His ship, called Shadowrunner, had been built using salvaged alien technology recovered from the first contact meeting. Human engineers had reverse-engineered Zephyrian stealth systems and combined them with human innovations. The result was a ship that could disappear from alien sensors while maintaining full combat capability. Roy's mission was to prove that humans could learn and adapt alien technology faster than anyone expected. His ship carried a crew of volunteers who had trained for weeks on captured alien equipment. They understood Zephyrian weapon systems well enough to turn them against their creators. The Shadowrunner became a ghost that struck without warning and vanished before retaliation was possible. The first major engagement occurred near Jupiter's largest moon. Commander Julie Brooks led a squadron of converted cargo ships that had been transformed into missile platforms. Her vessels looked harmless from a distance, but carried enough firepower to threaten even heavy alien cruisers. Julie had been a freight captain before the war and understood how to use her ship's cargo handling systems to reload weapons faster than conventional military vessels. Julie's tactical approach confused the Zephyrian commanders. Instead of engaging in direct combat, her ships would launch massive volleys of missiles and then retreat behind Jupiter's radiation belt, where alien sensors had difficulty tracking them. The human missiles were primitive compared to alien weapons, but they carried chemical explosives that could damage alien systems in unexpected ways. Tactical Officer Sam Lewis coordinated the defense from a hidden command center built inside a large asteroid. His job was to track alien movements and coordinate human responses across the entire solar system. Sam had discovered that human computer systems were more flexible than alien networks. While Zephyrian ships relied on centralized command structures, humans could adapt their plans instantly based on changing battlefield conditions. The biggest shock for the aliens came when they realized that humans treated warfare as a creative problem rather than a technical challenge. Every human ship seemed to use different tactics and weapons. Some vessels rammed alien ships at full speed, while others used gravity wells to slingshot past enemy formations. Mining ships threw asteroids at alien vessels using their industrial equipment. Cargo ships dumped their contents to create debris, fields that blocked alien sensors. Commander Krixvoll found his forces scattered and confused within hours of entering the system. His ships were designed to fight conventional space battles against organized military fleets. The humans offered no such target. Instead, they fought like pirates and terrorists, using hit-and-run tactics that violated every principle of civilized warfare. The Zephyrian response was to call for reinforcements and regroup for a more systematic approach. Krixvoll sent messages to the High Command, requesting additional ships and authorization to use more destructive weapons. He explained that human resistance was stronger than expected, and their tactics were highly irregular. Amy Watson received word that alien reinforcements were coming and made a decision that would become legendary among human fighters. Instead of retreating, her mining crews began moving the largest asteroids into new positions. They were turning the entire asteroid belt into a weapons system that would funnel alien ships into kill zones where human vessels could attack from concealment. Captain Roy Fisher used his stealth ship to gather intelligence on alien plans. He discovered that the Zephyrians were preparing to bypass the asteroid belt entirely and attack Earth directly. This information reached General Rodriguez on Earth, who immediately ordered all available ships to intercept the alien fleet before it could reach the inner system. The battle was far from over, but humanity had already achieved something important. They had proven that superior technology was not enough to guarantee victory. Human creativity and willingness to take desperate risks had evened the odds in ways the aliens never expected. The Zephyrians began to realize they were not fighting a primitive species, but a dangerous enemy that refused to follow the rules of conventional warfare. Commander Julie Brooks received orders to prepare for the next phase of the battle. Her cargo ship squadron would join with other human forces for a coordinated attack near Mars. The aliens expected humans to defend Earth from orbit, but instead they would face an enemy that brought the fight to them across the entire solar system. Sam. Lewis updated his tactical assessments and sent new intelligence to Earth Command. The aliens were learning to adapt to human tactics, but they were still thinking like a conventional military force. Humans had the advantage of unpredictability and the willingness to use any method necessary to win. The question was whether these advantages would be enough when the real battle began. Admiral Kevin Harper stood on the bridge of the converted battleship New York and watched the alien fleet approach Jupiter. The Zephyrians had regrouped after their losses in the asteroid belt and were advancing with their remaining 80 ships in a tight formation. Kevin commanded 60 human vessels of various sizes and capabilities. On paper, the aliens still held a significant advantage, but Kevin had learned not to trust paper when fighting for humanity's survival. The battle plan was unlike anything taught in military academies. Instead of meeting the enemy in conventional formation, the human fleet would use Jupiter's gravity well as a weapon. Ships would slingshot around the planet to gain impossible speeds, then ram alien vessels before they could react. It was a tactic that guaranteed heavy human losses, but offered the only chance of inflicting serious damage on the superior alien. Technology engineer Tony Clark had worked for 3 weeks developing the weapons that would make this strategy possible. His electromagnetic pulse devices were crude compared to alien technology, but they had one crucial advantage. Human ships were built with simple electrical systems that could function even after EMP attacks. Alien vessels relied on complex energy, networks that would shut down completely when hit by the pulse weapons. The first phase began when Communications Officer Linda Mason broadcast a fake surrender message on all frequencies. She told the aliens that Earth was prepared to negotiate terms for peaceful occupation. The message was designed to make the Zephyrians overconfident and draw them closer to Jupiter, where the human trap was waiting. Commander Krixvoll received the surrender offer with satisfaction. The humans had finally realized the futility of their resistance. He ordered his fleet to assume standard occupation formation and prepare for the final approach to Earth. His ships spread out in a defensive pattern that would protect against conventional attacks, but left them vulnerable to the unconventional tactics humans had planned. The trap was sprung when the human fleet emerged from behind Jupiter's moons at speeds that should have been impossible. The gravity slingshot maneuver had accelerated the ships far beyond their normal capabilities. Admiral Harper led the charge in his converted battleship, while smaller vessels followed in waves designed to overwhelm alien defensive systems. The ramming attacks began immediately. Captain Danny Walsh piloted his destroyer directly into the side of a Zephyrian heavy cruiser. The impact destroyed both ships, but proved that human vessels could penetrate alien armor through sheer kinetic force. Other human ships followed his example, creating a chain reaction of collisions that shattered the alien formation. Tony Clark's EMP weapons proved devastatingly effective. The electromagnetic pulses spread through alien energy networks, shutting down shields and weapon systems across multiple ships. Zephyrian vessels that had seemed invincible moments before suddenly found themselves defenseless against human attacks. The aliens had never encountered weapons designed specifically to exploit their technological dependence. Fleet Commander Darnex tried to restore order to his scattered forces, but found his command systems failing. Human EMP attacks had disrupted communications between alien ships. Each vessel was forced to fight independently without coordination or tactical support. The Zephyrians discovered that their advanced technology became a weakness when it could be turned against them. The battle raged across Jupiter's orbital space for 6 hours. Human ships used every trick and desperate tactic their crews could imagine. Cargo vessels dumped their loads to create debris clouds that blocked alien sensors. Passenger liners, converted to troop carriers, launched boarding parties at alien ships. Even small civilian craft joined the attack, carrying suicide bombs and ramming charges. Admiral Harper coordinated the chaos from his command ship, while human vessels swarmed around the confused alien fleet. His tactical approach violated every principle of space warfare. Instead of maintaining formation and fighting systematically, he encouraged individual ship captains to improvise and take initiative. The result was a battle that looked more like a bar fight than a military engagement. The turning point came when Captain Maria Santos led a boarding party onto a disabled Zephyrian cruiser. Her team had trained on captured alien equipment and knew how to operate basic ship systems. They managed to turn the alien vessel's weapons against its own fleet before Zephyrian Marines could stop them. The sight of their own ships firing on them broke Zephyrian morale. Engineer Tony Clark monitored the battle from the New York and realized that human weapons were more effective than anyone had dared hope. Chemical explosives were breaking through alien armor. Kinetic projectiles were penetrating energy shields. Most importantly, human crews were adapting faster than alien forces could respond. Every time the Zephyrians developed a counter-tactic, humans had already moved on to something new. Communications officer Linda Mason intercepted alien battle communications and learned that Commander Krixvol was calling for immediate retreat. The Zephyrian commander had lost more than half his fleet and could not understand how primitive humans had achieved such devastating results. His reports to the High Command painted a picture of an enemy that fought with reckless disregard for military logic. The alien retreat began as scattered groups of damaged ships fled toward the outer system. Admiral Harper ordered pursuit, but limited it to harassing attacks designed to speed the enemy withdrawal rather than inflict more casualties. He knew that humanity needed to prepare for the larger alien response that would inevitably come. Fleet Commander Darnex managed to escape with 30 ships out of the 80 that had entered the battle. His vessel was heavily damaged, and his crew was demoralized by their defeat. The Zephyrians had encountered an enemy unlike any they had faced before. Humans fought with a combination of creativity and desperation that made them nearly impossible to predict or counter. The victory near Jupiter sent shockwaves through both fleets. Human crews celebrated their success while preparing for the next battle. They had proven that alien technology could be defeated through determination and unconventional tactics. More importantly, they had shown that humanity would never surrender, even when facing impossible odds. Admiral Harper sent his battle report to Earth Command, along with captured alien equipment and intelligence data. General Rodriguez would need this information to prepare for the final battle that everyone knew was coming. The aliens would return with larger fleets and better preparation, but they would also face a human species that had learned how to fight among the stars. The battle at Jupiter became the turning point in humanity's first interstellar war. It proved that technological superiority alone could not guarantee victory against an enemy willing to sacrifice everything for freedom. The aliens had learned to respect human capabilities, but they still underestimated the depths of human determination when survival was at stake. The defeat at Jupiter sent shockwaves through the Zephyrian High Command. War Commander Thexdal reviewed the battle reports with growing alarm. A single human fleet had destroyed 50 advanced warships using primitive technology and suicide tactics. The reports painted a picture of an enemy that fought with complete disregard for military doctrine and rational strategy. Thexdal made the decision to escalate the conflict. He assembled a massive fleet of 300 ships from across the Zephyrian Empire. This time there would be no underestimation of human capabilities. The fleet included heavy battleships, siege platforms, and enough firepower to sterilize entire planets. The humans would face the full might of an interstellar military machine. Meanwhile, in the asteroid belt, Captain Eric Stone continued his guerrilla campaign against scattered alien forces. His converted mining ship Iron Will had become the flagship of an irregular fleet that struck alien supply lines and isolated vessels. Eric's crews had learned to use the asteroid field as a three-dimensional battlefield where superior alien technology meant little. The asteroids themselves became weapons under Eric's command. His miners used their industrial equipment to redirect large rocks toward alien ships. The slow-moving projectiles were impossible for alien sensors to track as weapons. By the time Zephyrian crews realized they were under attack, the asteroids would impact with the force of nuclear explosions. On Earth, Dr. Rachel Kim coordinated the global resistance through the planet's internet networks. She had created a communication system that connected every military unit, civilian group, and individual fighter across the planet. The network allowed instant coordination of defensive efforts and shared intelligence about alien movements and weaknesses. Rachel's system represented something the aliens had never encountered. Most species used hierarchical command structures, where orders flowed from central authorities to subordinate units. Humans had created a web of interconnected decision-makers who could adapt instantly to changing situations. Every ship captain, squad leader, and individual fighter could contribute to tactical planning. The results were devastating for alien forces trying to establish control over human territory. Instead of facing organized military units, they encountered a population where every civilian was a potential combatant. Factory workers sabotaged alien equipment. Farmers poisoned food supplies meant for occupation forces. Even children participated by gathering intelligence and carrying messages between resistance cells. Marine Colonel Steve Hayes led the most audacious operations of the entire war. His boarding parties had perfected the art of capturing alien vessels using nothing but human tenacity and improvised weapons. Steve's Marines would ram damaged alien ships with armored shuttles, then fight their way through the vessel using chemical explosives and projectile weapons. The boarding tactics worked because humans were willing to accept casualties that no rational military force would consider acceptable. Steve's Marines knew they were unlikely to survive their missions, but they also knew that every alien ship they captured was one less threat to Earth. Their sacrifice gave humanity access to advanced technology and provided intelligence about alien capabilities and plans. Navigator Beth Williams had become one of the most valuable officers in the human fleet. Her job was to plot courses that took advantage of human mobility and alien predictability. Beth discovered that Zephyrian ships followed standard navigation protocols that made their movements easy to anticipate. Human vessels could position themselves for ambush attacks with surprising accuracy. The aliens' reliance on advanced computer systems became a weakness when facing human unpredictability. Zephyrian tactical computers could calculate optimal responses to conventional military strategies, but they could not predict the chaotic creativity of human commanders. Every time alien systems adapted to one human tactic, the humans had already moved on to something completely different. Strategic coordinator. Hexmiran tried to bring order to the Zephyrian response, but found herself dealing with an enemy that defied logical analysis. Human forces appeared and disappeared without pattern. They would concentrate for major attacks, then disperse before alien reinforcements could respond. Attempts to predict human movements failed because humans themselves did not follow consistent, strategic plans. The battle spread across the entire solar system as humans refused to defend fixed positions. Captain Eric Stone's asteroid miners would attack alien ships near Jupiter, then disappear into the belt before retaliation was possible. Dr. Rachel Kim's coordination network would redirect human forces to wherever aliens were weakest. Colonel Hayes's Marines would capture alien vessels, then use them to attack their former fleetmates. The psychological impact on alien forces was as devastating as the physical damage. Zephyrian crews found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to be everywhere at once. Human tactics violated every principle of civilized warfare. They used civilian vessels as weapons. They turned industrial equipment into military hardware. They fought with a desperation that made victory costly even when they lost. Admiral Lisa Carter returned from Earth with reinforcements and a new strategy that would test alien adaptability to its limits. Instead of concentrating human forces, for major battles, she would scatter them across hundreds of small engagements. Every alien ship would face constant harassment from multiple directions. No Zephyrian commander would be safe from human attacks. The strategy worked because it played to human strengths while exploiting alien weaknesses. Humans excelled at individual initiative and creative problem-solving. Aliens depended on centralized, command, and coordinated tactics. When every human unit operated independently, alien command systems could not track or counter the threats they faced. War Commander Thexdal received reports of human activities across the solar system and realized that his forces were losing control of the situation. Despite superior technology and overwhelming numbers, the Zephyrians were being defeated by an enemy that refused to fight conventional battles. Every day brought new reports of alien losses and human successes. The final phase of the campaign began when Thexdal made the decision to bypass all human defenses and attack Earth directly. His massive fleet would concentrate its firepower on humanity's homeworld and force a decisive battle. He was confident that humans could not protect their planet against 300 warships attacking in unified formation. Dr. Rachel Kim detected the alien fleet movement through her intelligence network and sent warnings to every human unit in the solar system. The aliens were making their final push toward Earth. Everything humanity had fought for would be decided in the battle that was coming. She coordinated the recall of scattered human forces for the defense of their homeworld. Captain Eric Stone received the recall order and began the dangerous journey from the asteroid belt to Earth. His miners would join the final battle along with every other human unit still capable of fighting. The aliens were bringing their full strength to bear, but they would face a united humanity that had learned how to turn desperation into victory. War Commander Thexdal led his massive fleet of 300 ships toward Earth with absolute confidence. The human homeworld lay defenseless before the full might of the Zephyrian Empire. No primitive species could withstand such overwhelming force. This final battle would end human resistance and establish Zephyrian dominance over the troublesome species once and for all. The approaching alien armada was detected by human sensors while still days away from Earth. Admiral Lisa Carter coordinated the desperate preparations for humanity's last stand. Every available ship from across the solar system was recalled for the defense of their homeworld. The human fleet that assembled numbered only 150 vessels of various sizes and capabilities. Captain Nick Johnson commanded the converted heavy cruiser Liberty Bell and knew this would likely be his final mission. His ship carried the most powerful weapons humans had developed, including experimental devices that might penetrate alien defenses. Nick's crew consisted of volunteers who understood the odds they faced but refused to surrender their planet without a fight. The battle began in Earth's outer orbital zone as the massive alien fleet approached in perfect formation. Thexdal had arranged his ships to maximize firepower while minimizing human opportunities for surprise attacks. 300 vessels moved in coordinated patterns that should have overwhelmed any opposition through sheer concentrated force. What the aliens encountered instead was humanity's final surprise. The human fleet did not attempt to match alien formations or fight a conventional space battle. Instead, they scattered across Earth's orbital space and began attacking from every direction simultaneously. Each human ship operated independently, using tactics specifically designed to exploit alien weaknesses. Strategic Commander Holly Davis coordinated the chaotic battle from a hidden command center on Earth's surface. Her job was not to control human ships, but to provide them with real-time intelligence about alien movements and vulnerabilities. The human defense relied on individual initiative rather than centralized command, which made it impossible for aliens to predict or counter. Captain Nick Johnson led the first wave of attacks using the gravity-assisted ramming tactics that had proven effective at Jupiter. His converted cruiser accelerated around Earth's moon and struck a Zephyrian battleship at impossible speed. The impact destroyed both vessels, but created a gap in alien formations that other human ships exploited immediately. The battle raged for 8 hours as human ships swarmed around the confused alien fleet. Every tactic that had worked in previous engagements was used with desperate intensity. Mining ships threw asteroids. Converted cargo vessels launched massive missile volleys. Civilian craft carried suicide bombs and ramming charges. The defense of Earth became a demonstration of human creativity and determination. Engineer Tony Clark's electromagnetic pulse weapons proved devastatingly effective against the concentrated alien fleet. The EMP devices spread through alien energy networks, shutting down multiple ships simultaneously. Zephyrian vessels that relied on advanced technology found themselves helpless against weapons designed specifically to exploit their technological dependence. Marine Colonel Steve Hayes led boarding parties against disabled alien ships throughout the battle. His Marines had perfected techniques for capturing enemy vessels and turning their weapons against their former fleetmates. The sight of their own ships firing on them demoralized Zephyrian crews and broke their tactical coordination. War Commander Thextal watched his carefully planned assault dissolve into chaos as human defenders refused to fight the battle he had prepared for. His ships were designed for conventional warfare against organized military forces. The humans offered no such target, instead attacking like pirates and terrorists, using every dirty trick and desperate measure they could devise. The turning point came when Captain Eric Stone arrived from the asteroid belt with his fleet of converted mining ships. The miners had brought a final surprise in the form of captured asteroids that they launched at the alien fleet using their industrial equipment. The slow-moving rocks were invisible to alien sensors until they impacted with devastating force. Dr. Rachel Kim coordinated Earth's ground-based defenses through her global communication network. Surface installations fired everything they had at the alien fleet, including converted civilian rockets and improvised kinetic weapons. Even small arms fire from individual soldiers contributed to the defensive effort, as humans refused to accept defeat. The psychological impact on alien forces was overwhelming. Zephyrian crews found themselves fighting an entire species that seemed willing to die rather than surrender. Human tactics violated every principle of rational warfare. They used children as message carriers. They turned hospitals into weapon factories. They fought with a desperation that made victory impossible, even when they lost individual battles. Admiral Lisa Carter led the final assault that broke Zephyrian resistance. Her mixed fleet of military vessels and converted civilian ships overwhelmed the alien command structure through sheer audacity and willingness to accept losses. Human ships rammed alien vessels at every opportunity, while EMP weapons disabled entire squadrons of enemy craft. War Commander Thextal realized that his invasion had failed when he lost more than half his fleet to an enemy he had dismissed as primitive. The humans had adapted alien technology faster than thought possible, while developing new tactics that exploited every Zephyrian weakness. His surviving ships were demoralized and scattered across Earth's orbital space. The retreat began when Thextal ordered his remaining vessels to withdraw from Earth's solar system. Less than 100 ships escaped from the 300 that had begun the final assault. The survivors carried news that would shock the entire Galactic Council. Humanity was not a primitive species to be easily conquered, but a dangerous enemy that could defeat superior technology through determination and creativity. Captain Nick Johnson had sacrificed his ship in the opening attack, but his example inspired the human victory. Other crews followed his lead using ramming tactics and suicide attacks that proved devastating against alien formations. The Liberty Bell became a symbol of human willingness to pay any price for freedom. Strategic Commander Holly Davis sent the victory report to governments across Earth. Humanity had survived its first interstellar war against impossible odds. The cost had been enormous, but the lesson was clear. No alien species could conquer a people willing to fight with everything they had for their survival and freedom. The aftermath of the battle saw representatives from the Galactic Council arriving at Earth to negotiate with the victorious humans. The species that had been dismissed as primitive savages was now invited to join galactic civilization as an equal member. Other races looked at humanity with a mixture of respect and wariness, knowing they had witnessed something unprecedented. Admiral Lisa Carter accepted the galactic invitation on behalf of Earth, but made it clear that humanity would never again submit to alien domination. The battle had proven that technological superiority alone could not guarantee victory against an enemy that refused to accept defeat. Humanity had earned its place among the stars through stubborn defiance and willingness to sacrifice everything for freedom.